Welcome back to Iraqi Dinar News, where we explore the unfolding story of Iraq's resilience, recovery, and financial potential. As of the current date in the USA, the momentum in Iraq has caught global attention. From broken systems and conflict zones to bustling streets and renewed optimism, the transformation underway is stunning. If you've followed Iraq's path in the past 2 decades, you know how unlikely this moment once seemed. But today, this shift is no longer just hope. It's being seen and felt in everyday life. For much of the world, Iraq was once a symbol of endless conflict and tragedy. The fall of Saddam Hussein brought with it a power vacuum, sectarian clashes, terrorist insurgencies, and years of foreign intervention. From the early 2000s to the rise and fall of ISIS, the country endured near constant upheaval. Infrastructure collapsed, institutions were hollowed out, and entire generations grew up surrounded by violence and uncertainty. The headlines spoke of a country perpetually on the edge, but in an unexpected and profound turn, Iraq is now writing a new chapter, one filled with cautious optimism and a determination to reclaim its future. This isn't a story built on hopeful speeches. It's reflected in daily life across the country. In Baghdad, families now walk freely along the Tigris River at night, enjoying cafes and shops that were once shuttered or targeted. The ruins of Mosul, devastated by ISIS occupation and war, are giving way to the sounds of reconstruction and return. There's a pulse of energy among young Iraqis launching tech startups, cultural movements, and community-driven initiatives that signal a society in revival. They are not waiting for promises from above. They are creating progress from the ground up. To appreciate Iraq's current resurgence, one must understand the sheer scale of what it's endured. For years, basic survival was the only goal. In some areas, power was only available for a few hours a day. Militias held entire neighborhoods hostage. Shelling was frequent. The trauma and emotional toll was immeasurable. But that shared pain has also shaped the resilience seen today. In 2025, security incidents across the country have dropped to the lowest level in 2 decades. The Iraqi dinar has reached a point of stabilization that analysts are watching closely. Foreign investors, once wary of corruption and chaos, are now cautiously re-entering the market. Offices from multinational companies are quietly opening in cities like Basra and Baghdad. Iraq's oil sector, a cornerstone of its economy, is operating with improved oversight and transparency, channeling profits into not only government salaries but also real infrastructure development, roads, schools, and essential public works. Even Iraq's political landscape is evolving. While still far from perfect, there's a visible shift toward pragmatic governance. A younger generation of political leaders, many of whom lived through the height of conflict, are pushing aside divisive ideologies in favor of solving real problems: electricity access, job creation, education, and economic opportunity. And what was once a fractured and demoralized military is now standing tall. Iraq's security forces have restored discipline, capacity, and public confidence. They are no longer reliant on foreign presence. There are no longer American tanks on the streets or foreign fighter jets circling overhead. Iraqis are managing their own security and rebuilding their cities. The hope we're seeing in Iraq is not naive. It's not born from blind optimism. This is a quiet, determined hope, one that knows the cost of every inch of progress. It's shaped by memories of violence and loss, but it doesn't dwell in the past. That's what makes it so powerful. Internally displaced families are finally returning to their hometowns, not just to rebuild walls, but to reignite community life. In provinces like Anbar and Nineveh, long divided by sectarian violence, local tribes are forming reconciliation committees, healing rifts, and setting new foundations for peace. This is the untold story of Iraq, not of miracles, but of willpower. This isn't happening because external actors are forcing reform. It's happening because Iraqis have decided they are done with war and are willing to do the hard work of reconstruction themselves. Grassroots efforts are forming all across the country. Artists in cities like Najaf and Karbala are using street art to express political ideas and national pride. Kurdish and Arab musicians are working together across once divided regions. The National Theatre in Baghdad has reopened, and its performances are drawing crowds. And yet, challenges remain. Iraq is still wrestling with corruption, unequal wealth distribution, water scarcity, and climate pressures. Political rivalries haven't disappeared, and foreign interference still lingers in the background. But the narrative is changing, not because problems have vanished, but because Iraqis are now taking charge of their own story. They aren't waiting for solutions to be handed down. They are, step by step, building a country they can proudly call home. What stands out most in this new era for Iraq is the perspective of everyday citizens, not leaders or experts, but people who have lived through the worst and are now finally beginning to see light. One young engineer from Baghdad recently expressed it best. "We've been through the worst of it, and we finally see that Iraq is becoming really stable and secure. For the first time in my life, I can plan ahead. I can dream about my children's future." That simple yet powerful statement captures the essence of this national turning point. For many Iraqis, just the idea of dreaming about a peaceful future was once unimaginable. Today, it is becoming a reality. This renewed sense of direction isn't just sentimental. It has significant global implications. Iraq's success story serves as a broader reminder to the international community that recovery is possible, even after decades of collapse. It shows that war-torn societies are not doomed to remain broken forever, that with perseverance, accountability, and civic engagement, healing can occur, not in months or with slogans, but through years of slow, collective work. The international media may not spotlight Iraq's progress daily, but for those paying attention, the signals are clear. Iraq is no longer just surviving, it is gradually learning how to thrive. Cultural life, which was once stifled by censorship and fear, is reawakening. Iraqi literature, music, and cinema are experiencing a rebirth. Young creatives are using their talents to express not only national pride, but also critique and reflection, an essential part of any healthy society. The revival of institutions like the Baghdad National Theatre and the rise of collaborative art movements are no small achievements. They are signs that Iraq is no longer frozen by fear. It is moving forward with purpose. Economically, while major challenges persist, there is reason for measured optimism. The country's oil wealth, when paired with growing transparency and investment oversight, is beginning to fund tangible improvements. Hospitals, roads, and schools are being built. The Iraqi dinar, after years of volatility, is showing signs of renewed stability. These aren't just economic metrics, they are lifelines for ordinary Iraqis who have long waited for basic services and job opportunities. It's still early and nothing is guaranteed, but the foundation for meaningful growth is being laid. And politically, there are encouraging signs as well. Iraq's young leaders are beginning to replace the older generation that was defined by war-gear alliances and sectarian agendas. These new voices are less interested in the past and more focused on problem-solving, delivering results, creating employment, and ensuring security. They aren't perfect and setbacks are inevitable, but the shift in priorities is real and long overdue. The people of Iraq, particularly the youth, are no longer willing to accept dysfunction as the norm. Of course, no story of national recovery is without its complications. Corruption still exists. Water shortages and climate change are looming issues that could destabilize rural areas. Foreign meddling hasn't disappeared, but what's different now is that Iraqis themselves are steering the ship. They are no longer passive recipients of outside aid or influence. They are defining their own future. And perhaps that's the most powerful part of this story, the reclaiming of Iraq's national identity by its own citizens. They are choosing cooperation over division, work over waiting, and hope over cynicism. This doesn't mean the road ahead will be easy. In fact, the hardest work may still lie ahead. But Iraqis are more ready now than ever to take on that responsibility. For years, the world counted Iraq out. Many believed it would remain a failed state indefinitely. But they were wrong. Iraq is standing up, and if peace continues to hold, and if the international community chooses to support rather than exploit, Iraq could very well become one of the most inspiring comeback stories of the 21st century. That's not just a slogan, it's a trajectory already in motion. To all our viewers watching this transformation from afar, remember this. Iraq's journey is a powerful reminder that even the most damaged societies can heal, grow, and redefine themselves. Not through shortcuts or foreign solutions, but through the strength of a people who refuse to give up. Iraq may not have arrived at its destination yet, but it has taken the hardest step, deciding not to surrender to its past. And for those holding on to the Iraqi dinar, following developments day by day, know that these foundational changes could play a major role in shaping Iraq's economic and currency future. Stay informed, stay realistic, and most importantly, stay hopeful. This has been Iraqi Dinar News. If you found this message meaningful, please consider subscribing and supporting the channel. Your encouragement helps us continue covering the truth behind Iraq's transformation. And as always, stay patient and positive, because patience is the key to every breakthrough.